Welcome. If you're here right now, it means something inside you refuses to stay silent, something raw, fierce, unyielding, a fire that burns beneath the surface of doubt and fear and fear. You're here because you felt the weight of silence, the sting of invisibility, and the grind of fighting in shadows where no one sees the battles you wage. This is not a place for the faint-hearted or the timid. This is where truth cuts deep, where the ugly, unfiltered reality of struggle meets the relentless spirit that refuses to break. You're about to hear words that don't just scratch the surface, but claw through the layers of who you thought you were, to reveal who you were always meant to be. Listen closely, because what I'm about to say might shake you. It might unsettle the foundations you've built your life upon. But from that trembling, from that disruption, comes transformation. You made that sashed up on the spot, and it hit. That line, that moment of clarity, that sudden spark of power wasn't a fluke. It wasn't luck. It was born from the depths of your mind, a place where raw instinct and untamed courage collide. When you stand in a moment and create something powerful from nothing, you've tapped into a force no one else can touch. You, in that instant, became the architect of your own reality. You weren't rehearsing. You weren't waiting for permission. You improvised. You rose. And damn, it hit. That's the power of owning your moment, without hesitation, without second guessing. You conjured strength from thin air because when survival is on the line, creativity turns savage. The night's darkest hours don't break you, they make you. You stand at the crossroads, armed with nothing but sheer will and a hunger for change, and in that crucible, you become unstoppable. No script, no safety net, just raw, unfiltered self-command. Think about the last night, the moment everything flipped overnight. The world you thought was steady, the people you counted on, the silent prayers whispered into the void. Suddenly, the tide turned. Maybe it wasn't the universe conspiring for you. Maybe it was you, standing up for yourself when no one else would. Maybe it was the moment you decided, enough. The moment you embraced the dark, gritty reality of your fight and said, I am still here. I am still standing. And in that breath, the game changed. Who the hell just stood up for you? Who was that shadow in the dark? The unseen guardian holding the line when you thought you were alone? Maybe it wasn't a person. Maybe it was a part of you never knew existed. The savage spirit lurking beneath the surface. The primal protector who refuses to let you fall. That guardian is the voice in your head that screamed at you to keep moving when the world was dragging you down. That protector is the force that fought through your doubts, your fears, your wounds, to push you into the light. You didn't need someone else to save you. You were the warrior all along. And now, everything's flipped. The tables turned. The underdog became the apex. The quiet ones who were dismissed, the voices that were ignored, the souls who were underestimated. They rose like a storm. You are that storm, the one who can take the fragments of broken dreams, the shards of disappointment, and forge them into armor. Armor so strong it deflects every insult, every setback, every failure thrown your way. You made that moment up on the spot, and it hit because you refused to be defeated. But hear me, this is not just about surviving one night or one challenge. This is about the unrelenting commitment to your own evolution. This is about standing firm when the world spins out of control. When the darkness creeps in, threatening to swallow everything, that's when you become the guardian of your own destiny. You're not waiting for rescue. You're not hoping for salvation. You're the savage guarding your own life, your own dreams, your own soul. Who is this savage guarding you now? It's you. It's the fierce, relentless, untamed part of yourself that refuses to be silenced, ignored, or beaten. It's the part that doesn't give a damn about what others think. The part that doesn't ask for permission. The part that doesn't bend or break. That savage is the keeper of your truth, the protector of your peace, the warrior of your nights. And once you recognize that, once you claim that power, nothing in this world can stop you. You created that moment on the spot, because in the darkest moments, clarity comes not from planning, but from pure instinct. When you're pushed to the edge, you find strength you never knew you had. That strength doesn't come from outside. It's inside you, raw, primal, and waiting. You don't need validation. You don't need permission. You need to believe in that savage inside, to let it rise, roar, and dominate every single fear, every single doubt. Remember, the world won't always be kind to you. The path won't always be clear or easy. But when everything flipped overnight, it wasn't because the world changed. It was because you changed. You took control. You embraced your power. You became the force that shifts reality. You must never forget that. The nights you thought you were alone, the battles you thought you couldn't win, the moments you thought you'd break, those were the moments you forged the unbreakable version of yourself. You wrote your own script in real time. You made that sage tee up on the spot, and it landed with the force of 1,000 storms. That power, it lives in you every day. It's the fire in your chest, the unspoken promise you make to yourself every morning when you get up despite the odds. It's the reason you're still here, standing tall, ready to fight for what's yours. Don't let anyone dim that flame. Don't let anyone make you doubt your own strength, because you are the savage guardian of your own life. So next time the darkness creeps in, when the doubts try to drown you, when the world tries to make you small, remember who just stood up for you last night. Remember who made that shot up on the spot and how it hit like a tidal wave. Remember that savage inside you, fierce and relentless, guarding every inch of your soul. And then rise harder, rise stronger, because everything just flipped overnight. And the power is yours, always has been, always will be. You see, the moments when you make something out of nothing, those are the moments that define you. When the world looks away, when the noise fades and the spotlight doesn't shine on you, that's when you create your own light. You become your own beacon. That sudden burst of power, that spontaneous hit, it's not magic. It's the raw truth of what happens when the human spirit refuses to be silenced. It's the moment when preparation meets chaos, and the chaos bows down to your will. Every time you've been doubted, dismissed, or overlooked, you stored up fuel inside you. You gathered anger, pain, frustration, and disappointment like kindling. And then, in the darkest silence, you sparked that fire. You made up that story, that speech, that moment on the spot, because your very survival depended on it. You created a weapon from nothing, a weapon forged in the crucible of your own determination. Last night, when everything flipped overnight, it wasn't because the world decided to be kind to you. It was because you stopped waiting for the world to change. You stopped hoping someone else would stand up and fight for you. You stood. You rose. You grabbed the reins of your life and didn't let go. In that act of defiance, everything changed. Think about it. Who stood up for you when no one else did? Who was that unexpected protector? It was you, the part of you that no one else sees, the savage spirit inside, the fierce protector who won't let the darkness claim you. That guardian doesn't care about rules or expectations. It doesn't ask for permission or seek approval. It simply rises when called, shields you from harm, and fights with every ounce of strength. Who is this savage guarding you now? It's the part of you that learned from every scar, every bruise, every wound life inflicted. It's the part of you that refuses to back down, that screams in the face of fear and pushes forward despite it all. This savage is your truth, raw, untamed, relentless. It's your deepest, darkest strength, the part of your soul that burns when everything else is cold. You created that moment on the spot because in the chaos, your mind and heart synced into one fierce entity. You didn't have time to plan. You didn't have the luxury to hesitate. You acted, and that action struck like lightning because it was pure, raw, unfiltered power. That moment was real because it came from you, your essence, your fight, your life. There's a lesson in that, the lesson that your greatest strength lies not in what you can prepare or predict, but in what you can create in the face of uncertainty. When the ground shifts beneath your feet and the darkness tries to swallow you whole, that's when your true power emerges. You don't need a plan. You need courage. You need conviction. You need to trust that the savage inside you will lead the way. The world may never understand that power. It may never recognize the battles you fought alone, the wars you won in silence. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that you know who you are. You know the nights you refused to give up. You know the fire that lit up your soul when everything else seemed lost. And now, everything has flipped. The person who once felt invisible now commands presence. The voice that was once drowned out now echoes loud and clear. The soul that was once broken now stands unbreakable. That's the power of standing up for yourself, of becoming the savage guardian of your own story. No one else can do this for you. No one else can step into your darkness and fight your battles. That's your role, your destiny, your sacred duty to yourself. So embrace it, own it. Let that savage inside you roar louder than the doubts and fears. Because when you do, the world will have no choice but to listen. Remember that moment, the one you made up on the spot, the one that hit like thunder. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a lucky break. It was the unveiling of your true self, the self that refuses to be tamed, silenced, or defeated. That self is the one guarding you now, the one who fought through the night and won the dawn. So when the next challenge comes, when the next storm threatens to tear you apart, call on that savage. Let it rise from the depths of your soul and shield you. Let it sharpen your focus and fuel your fire. Because you made that moment up on the spot before, and you will do it again and again and again. Because you're not just surviving, you're thriving. You're not just existing, you're conquering. You are the savage guarding your destiny, the unstoppable force flipping the script overnight. And the world is just starting to see what you've always known, that you are a force to be reckoned with. Hold on to that truth. Carry it with you into every fight, every challenge, every dark hour. Because that savage inside you never sleeps. That savage inside you never quits. That savage inside you never loses. And as long as you keep standing, keep fighting, keep rising, everything will keep flipping in your favor. You made that shady up on the spot, and it hit. Now, let it hit again. Let it hit harder. Let it hit so fiercely that nothing in this world can ignore you. Because the savage guarding you now is relentless, and so are you. You ever wonder why people start to whisper when you walk in the room now? Why the atmosphere changes? Why silence falls like a warning before a storm hits? It's because something about you is different, and it's not in your clothes. It's not in your walk. It's in your energy. It's in your silence, your unshakable stillness. It's in the weight you carry that no one else understands because they weren't there. They didn't see it. They didn't watch you bleed and crawl and choke through the nights when it felt like the world was collapsing on top of you, and yet you kept going. They didn't witness the madness inside your mind when your own thoughts became enemies, and still you stood still. You moved forward, and now you're dangerous because now you know you can't be broken. You know the worst already tried and failed, and when you made it up on the spot and it landed, it cracked something open in you, something wild and irreversible. And now they feel it. They feel the shift, and they don't know what to do with it. You're not loud, but you're loud in the way storms speak. Your presence says more than your voice ever could. It tells the story of the one who refused to be erased, the one who was expected to fade, and instead carved their name into reality. With fire and grit and silence, you flipped the narrative when nobody was looking. You rewrote the story in the middle of the night, and you didn't ask for credit. You didn't wait for recognition, because the reward was in the rise. In the act of standing when staying down would have been easier. The reward was in finding out who TF really stood up for. You when it got cold, when the room emptied, when the applause stopped. That's when you saw it. Not in them, but in you. You protected yourself. You became the guardian of your own energy. And it wasn't out of pride. It was out of necessity. Because life doesn't pause when you're broken. The world doesn't wait when you're tired, and pain doesn't care if you're ready. So you got ready anyway. You sharpened yourself in the fire. You didn't wait for light. You became the fire. And now when people look at you, they can't figure it out. They see the same eyes, the same skin, the same name. But something is different. Something scares them, and they don't even know why. But you know, because when everything flipped overnight, it wasn't luck, it wasn't timing. It was you deciding you're done playing small. It was the moment you stopped trying to prove yourself and instead started owning yourself. It was the second you realized no one's coming to save you, and that no one has to, because you've been saving yourself this whole time. And now, there's no more waiting, no more hoping, no more praying for someone to validate your journey, because you are your own proof. And that scares people because now you walk like you don't need them, and you don't. That savage guarding you now, it's not made of anger. It's made of wisdom, of lessons learned in the dark where no light could reach. It's made of scars that taught you more than comfort ever could. It's made of 1,000 rejections that taught you how to accept yourself fully. It's made of silence that taught you how to roar without noise. And you didn't read this in a book. You didn't watch someone else do it. You became it in real time, in real pain, with real risk. And now they ask how you did it. How? You turned pain into presence, how you flipped the script in the dead of night. And you know the truth. You didn't know what you were doing. You were just trying to breathe. You were just trying to stay sane. But somewhere in the chaos, instinct took over. And when instinct takes over, that's when the real you shows up. That's when the mask falls off and the warrior steps in. Not the polished version, not the perfect version, but the raw, real, relentless version. And when that version speaks, it hits because it's not rehearsed, it's not filtered, it's not performative. It's survival turned into strength. It's pain turned into presence. It's darkness turned into direction. And now the world is starting to adjust to this new version of you. They can't manipulate you anymore. They can't guilt you into staying quiet. They can't shame you into shrinking. Because now you understand that protecting your peace is a full-time job, and you're the only one qualified to do it. Now, You know that if they didn't stand with you in the storm, they don't deserve to sit with you in the light. Now, you know that love that cost your identity isn't love at all. And now you know the difference between company and connection. Now, you trust your energy more than their words. Because words lie, but energy doesn't. And when someone's real, you feel it. And when they're not, you walk away without explaining. This is the edge you've earned. This is the power they can't buy. This is the clarity no one can give you. You only get it by walking through hell without a map and still making it out with your soul intact. You get it by saying no to what drains you, by cutting ties with what dims you, by saying yes to the version of you that once only existed in your imagination. And now you're living it now. You're breathing it now. You are the proof of what happens when you stop running from yourself and start fighting for yourself. And it all started when you improvised, when you stepped into the storm and made it up on the spot. And it hit so hard it changed everything. And now when the wind howls and the ground shakes and life comes at you like it's trying to break you again, you just smile because you've been here before. And you know who you are now. You know you're not built to break. You're built to bend and bounce back harder. You know that pressure doesn't scare you anymore because it shaped you, and you don't just survive pressure now. Now, you create under it, you speak under it, you hit under it. You are the storm. Now, the calm and the chaos, the warning and the reckoning. You are what happens when someone refuses to disappear, when someone decides they're done shrinking, when someone finally understands that their voice was never too much, it was just in the wrong room. And now you're not looking for a room. Now you are the room. Now you create space that wasn't there before. You make noise in places where silence used to win, and every time someone underestimates you, it only adds fuel to the fire because underestimation is your favorite tool. They lower the bar and you lift it right over their heads. So keep going, keep building, keep rising. Don't stop to explain. Don't wait to be understood. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be free. And the savage guarding you now isn't looking for applause. It's looking for purpose. It's looking for truth. And it knows the path is lonely. Sometimes it knows the cost of peace is losing people who were never meant to stay. But it also knows what you gain is unshakable. And you made that up on the spot, and it changed everything. And if you could do that with nothing, imagine what's coming. Now that you know who you are, because you're not going back to who you were. Not now, not ever. That version of you served its time, but you've outgrown it. You've evolved into something sharper, smarter, quieter, but louder in presence. And this world is not ready, but it will learn. It will learn that you can't be dismissed. You can't be played with. You can't be stopped. Because when you stand, the ground shifts. When you speak, silence listens. When you move, the story changes. So keep moving, keep speaking, keep flipping the script over and over until it's no longer about proving anything and only about becoming more of who you already are. And every time they ask, who's guarding you now? Just smile and say, it's the version of me I had to fight to become, and trust me. You don't want to test them. And now that you've remembered who you are now, that you've touched that edge within you, that no one else has access to you, don't unsee it, you don't unfeel it. Because once the savage inside you wakes up, it doesn't go back to sleep. It doesn't ask for the past back. It doesn't shrink for comfort. It only moves forward, hungrier, wiser, more locked in than ever before. And maybe the world hasn't fully caught up yet. Maybe the people around you are still stuck on who you used to be, still speaking to the version of you that no longer exists. But that's not your job. Your job is to keep evolving, regardless. Your job is to let them adjust to the new frequency or fall away. trying because what's coming can't be slowed by confusion or doubt. That fire you felt when you spoke up on the spot, when you hit without warning, without preparation, when something divine moved through your chest and came out your mouth and stunned everyone. That's not rare. That's not once in a lifetime. That's who you are when you're not holding yourself back. That's what happens when you stop filtering your power, when you stop translating your fire into something people find more palatable. You're not meant to be digested. You're meant to be undeniable. And yes, it will cost you. Not everyone is going to clap. Not everyone will get it. Some will leave. Some will resist. Some will try to pull you back to what was familiar and safe, but safety didn't get you here. Comfort didn't unlock this version of you. It was pressure. It was heartbreak. It was isolation. It was betrayal. It was loss. And you turned every wound into a weapon and every scar into armor. And now there's no going back, because forward is the only direction that matches your fire now. And here's the deeper truth that no one likes to say out loud. No one really tells you this part, but you figured it out in the silence. The most dangerous thing you ever did was believe in yourself quietly before anyone else did. You started building before you had the blueprint. You moved before you had confirmation. You stood up when you were still shaking. And that's what shifted the energy. That's what flipped everything overnight. It wasn't magic. It was movement. It was your refusal to sit still while your soul screamed for more. Now the savage guarding you doesn't flinch anymore. It doesn't apologize for its presence. It doesn't dilute itself for rooms too small to hold its weight. Now, it walks with a stillness that comes from having nothing to prove and everything to protect. Because this peace you've earned isn't accidental. It's a product of war, fought in silence and won with resilience, and every step you take now is claimed with intention and clarity. You don't just walk, you occupy space now. So when they look at you, confused by the shift, when they say you've changed, don't correct them. Thank them, because they're right. You have changed, you've evolved, you've outgrown the shell. They were comfortable keeping you in, and now you're not just a person. You're a standard, a reminder that survival isn't enough anymore. Not for you. You're not here to merely get by. You're here to own your lane, blaze your trail, build your kingdom, and protect it like the savage you are. And let's not sugarcoat it. Not every day will feel like fire. Some days will be quiet, some will be heavy, some will feel like you're sliding back. But don't let those moments define you, because even when it's dark now, even when it's heavy, you know, the truth, you've already made it out of worse. You've already hit rock bottom and started building from the dust. You've already proven you can create something real in the middle of chaos, and that knowledge, that's what makes you lethal. You're not guessing anymore. You're not hoping anymore. You're operating from experience, from memory, from battle-tested wisdom. And even when you improvise now, even when you speak from instinct and now, it lands, it hits, it shifts energy, because it's not coming from desperation. It's coming from alignment, from power, rooted in pain, transformed into presence. And you can't fake that. You can't teach that. You earn that. So keep moving through the noise. Let the world adjust to you. Let them wonder how you got so calm, how you got so focused, how you flipped everything so fast, and just smile. Because the ones who know the ones who've walked through fire. Recognize the look in your eyes. They recognize the silence between your words. They recognize the savage standing guard inside you, and they don't question it. They salute it. You are no longer at the mercy of what life throws at you. You are no longer reacting. You're directing. You're choosing. You're creating. And when life pushes now, you don't stumble. You pivot. You sharpen. You respond from strength, not survival. And that's a power they can't predict. That's a version of you they can't prepare for. And that's why they're shaken. So walk like you already know where you're going. Move like the world is catching up to your vision. Speak like your voice bends the air around it, because it does. And don't wait for another overnight shift. Don't wait for another hit. You already carry the formula inside you. Instinct fused with purpose, grit wrapped in clarity. And that combo, that's unstoppable. Remember the moment it flipped. Remember the moment it hit. And remember the moment you realized no one was coming to save you. And instead of sinking, you stood. And you didn't just stand, you spoke. And when you spoke, the ground moved. And when it moved, so did the story. And now, the final truth. The one no one dares to say out loud, but you feel it. You are the storm. Now you are the shift. Now you are the protection you prayed for. You are the savage guarding a future no one else could see. You are the voice that doesn't echo. It commands. You are the force that doesn't arrive. It emerges. You are the reason everything flipped overnight. And if they're still wondering who the hell stood up for you last night, if they're still confused by your calm, by your glow, by your presence, just let them wonder, because now you're not proving, you're not pleading, you're not performing. You are walking in power unapologetically, and the world has no choice but to adjust. You made that up on the spot, and it hit. Now, live like you meant it, because you did, and you always will.